Welcome to Tales by Felix, where every story unlocks a new world. Remember to subscribe, like and share. Let's begin. The air in the cramped kitchen was heavy with the scent of scorched onions and despair. Anya knelt on the cold stone floor, scrubbing grease from a skillet that hadn't gleamed in years. Her hands, raw from hours of work, trembled as she fought back tears. It had been 6 months since her father's death, and the warmth of his laughter had faded from the house, replaced by the sharp commands of her stepmother, Madame Clara, and the sneering giggles of her stepsister, Bella. "Faster, Anya!" Madame Clara's voice sliced through the haze. She stood in the doorway, her silk dress a stark contrast to Anya's threadbare apron. "The floor's filthy, and Bella's guests will be here soon. Do you want them to think we live like pigs?" Anya bit her lip, swallowing a retort. "No, Madame Clara," she murmured, her voice barely audible over the clatter of pots. She kept her eyes down, focusing on the rhythmic scrub of the brush. Her father's memory lingered in the kitchen, his gentle hands guiding hers as they kneaded dough, his stories of her grandmother's legendary dishes filling the air. Now, those memories were all she had left. Bella swept in, her golden curls bouncing, a tray of half-eaten pastries in her hands. "Honestly, Anya, you're so slow," she said, dumping the tray onto the counter with a clatter. Crumbs scattered across Anya's freshly scrubbed surface. "If you ruin my tea party, I'll make sure Mother locks you in the cellar for a week." Anya's grip tightened on the brush, but she said nothing. Bella's cruelty was a daily ritual, as predictable as the sunrise. Yet, in the quiet moments, when the house slept and Anya was alone with her thoughts, she could almost taste her grandmother's cooking, the rich, buttery warmth of her stews, the delicate sweetness of her cakes. It was a fleeting solace, a whisper of a gift she barely understood. That night, after the guests had left and the kitchen was silent, Anya sat by the dying embers of the fire. Her fingers traced the worn edges of her apron, and she whispered to herself, "There has to be more than this." The words felt like a prayer, fragile but defiant. Little did she know, destiny was already stirring in the shadows. The attic was a forgotten realm, thick with dust and the ghosts of forgotten things. Anya had been sent there to fetch an old tablecloth for Madame Clara's latest dinner party, but the task felt like a punishment. Cobwebs clung to her hair as she navigated the maze of crates and trunks, her candle casting flickering shadows on the walls. She tripped over a loose floorboard, and a small locked chest slid into view, half hidden beneath a moth-eaten rug. Curiosity tugged at her, sharper than her exhaustion. Kneeling, she brushed away the dust, revealing intricate carvings of vines and flowers on the chest's lid. The lock was rusted, but with a gentle twist, it gave way, as if it had been waiting for her. Inside lay a single treasure, a leather-bound book, its pages yellowed but intact. The title, written in her grandmother's elegant script, read Recipes of the Heart. Anya's breath caught. She opened it, and the scent of old parchment mingled with faint traces of spices, cardamom, saffron, and something unplaceable. The pages were filled with more than recipes. They were a diary of her grandmother's life, each dish tied to a memory, a lesson, or a secret. At the center was a recipe titled The Sunstone Feast, described as a dish so extraordinary it could heal hearts and awaken dreams. Notes in the margins hinted at a hidden ingredient, a mystery that made Anya's pulse race. "Anya!" Madame Clara's shout shattered the moment. "What's taking so long?" Heart-pounding, Anya hid the book under her apron and hurried downstairs. That night, in the dim light of her tiny room, she pored over the pages, her fingers trembling with excitement. The cookbook wasn't just a relic, it was a map to a future she could barely imagine. The marketplace was a riot of colors and sounds, a rare escape from the confines of the house. Anya clutched her basket, weaving through stalls piled high with apples and fresh herbs. Her mind was still on the cookbook, its secrets whispering to her even now. At the edge of the square, a crowd gathered around a notice board. Curious, she pushed closer. A golden flyer caught her eye, its bold letters announcing the Flavors Academy Scholarship Competition. The prize, a full scholarship to the prestigious culinary school, a chance to study under world-renowned chefs and escape the drudgery of her life. Anya's heart leapt. This was it, her way out. Back home, she hid the flyer in her room, her mind racing with possibilities. At dinner, she overheard Bella boasting about her own place at Flavors Academy, her voice dripping with self-importance. "It's only for the best, Mother. Not for scullery maids, she said, casting a pointed glance at Anya. Anya's resolve hardened. She spent nights practicing recipes from the cookbook, her hands moving with a confidence she hadn't known she possessed. The dishes were simple at first, her grandmother's herb-crusted bread, a creamy mushroom soup, but each one felt like a step toward freedom. One evening, as she chopped parsley, Madame Clara loomed over her. "What's that smell?" she demanded, sniffing the air. "Are you wasting my ingredients on your nonsense?" "It's just soup, madam," Anya said, keeping her voice steady. "For the servants." Clara's eyes narrowed, but she said nothing more. Anya knew she was treading on dangerous ground, but the flyer burned in her mind. She had to try. The preliminary round of the competition was held in a local hall, a flurry of nervous contestants and sizzling pans. Anya had slipped out of the house at dawn, her application mailed in secret weeks before. She carried a small basket of ingredients and her grandmother's cookbook, hidden beneath a cloth. Bella was there, of course, strutting among the contestants like a queen. When she spotted Anya, her eyes widened, then narrowed into slits. "What are you doing here?" she hissed, grabbing Anya's arm. "You think you can compete with me? You're nothing but a servant." Anya pulled free, her voice low but firm. "I have as much right to be here as you, Bella." Bella's laugh was cold. "We'll see about that." The challenge was simple. Create a dish that showcased local ingredients. Anya chose a roasted vegetable tart, inspired by her grandmother's notes on balancing flavors. She worked with quiet focus, her hands steady despite Bella's constant glares. As the judges approached, Bella leaned close, whispering, "You'll regret this, Anya." Anya ignored her, presenting her tart with a shy smile. The judges praised its rustic elegance, and for the first time, Anya felt a spark of pride. But as she returned to her station, she noticed Bella lingering near the stove, her expression too smug for comfort. Back at home, Anya practiced tirelessly for the next round, her grandmother's cookbook open beside her. She was perfecting a delicate lemon custard when Bella sauntered into the kitchen, a smirk playing on her lips. "Still dreaming, Anya? You'll never make it past the next round." Anya didn't look up. "I'm not doing this for you, Bella." Bella's eyes glinted. "You should quit while you're ahead. Or maybe I'll help you fail." That night, as Anya prepared for the second preliminary round, disaster struck. She had left her custard to cool on the stove, but when she returned, the burner was inexplicably on high. The custard had scorched, filling the kitchen with an acrid smell. Madame Clara stormed in, her face a mask of fury. "What have you done, you clumsy girl?" "It wasn't me," Anya protested, but Clara's hand cracked across her cheek, silencing her. "You'll clean this mess and sleep in the cellar tonight," Clara snapped. "And if I find out you're wasting my time with that ridiculous competition, I'll burn that precious book of yours." Anya's heart stopped. Did Clara know about the cookbook? She glanced at Bella, who was watching from the doorway, her smile triumphant. As Anya scrubbed the ruined pot, tears stung her eyes, but her resolve only grew. Bella's sabotage had failed to break her, it had only made her more determined. In the cellar, shivering under a thin blanket, Anya clutched the hidden cookbook to her chest. "I won't let them win," she whispered to the darkness. "Not Bella, not Clara. This is for you, grandmother." The words felt like a vow, sealing her fate as she prepared for the battle ahead. The Grand Hall of Flavors Academy gleamed under crystal chandeliers, its walls lined with portraits of legendary chefs. Anya stood at the edge of the orientation crowd, her heart pounding as she clutched her acceptance letter. The scholarship had come through, a miracle she could scarcely believe. She was here, in the hallowed halls where culinary dreams were forged, far from the oppressive gloom of Madame Clara's kitchen. Yet, the weight of her stepmother's shadow lingered, and Bella's presence among the students was a constant threat. The head chef, Professor Alastair, strode to the podium, his silver hair glinting under the lights. His reputation as a culinary genius was matched only by his piercing gaze, which seemed to see through every student's bravado. "You are here because you have potential," he said, his voice low but commanding. "But potential is nothing without discipline, heart, and courage. Show me those, and you might just survive this academy." Anya felt his words settle into her bones. As the students dispersed, she lingered, studying a display of ancient cookware. A shadow fell over her, and she turned to find Chef Alistair watching her. "You're Anya, the scholarship girl," he said, not unkindly. "Your preliminary tart was unexpected, rustic, yet refined. Where did you learn to balance flavors like that?" Anya hesitated, the cookbook's secrets burning in her mind. "My grandmother," she said softly. "She taught me, indirectly." Alistair's eyes narrowed, but a faint smile tugged at his lips. "Keep that fire, girl. You'll need it." He walked away, leaving Anya with a flicker of hope. She had an ally, however subtle, and in a place like this, that could mean everything. That night, in her sparse dorm room, Anya opened her grandmother's cookbook, tracing the faded ink. "I'm here, grandmother," she whispered. "I won't let you down." But as she drifted to sleep, Bella's venomous words from the preliminaries echoed, "You'll regret this, Anya." The first day of classes was a whirlwind of clanging pots and shouted instructions. Anya's station was a small island of calm amidst the chaos, her hands moving with quiet precision as she diced herbs for a basic velouté sauce. She could feel Bella's eyes on her from across the room, a predator waiting to strike. At lunch, the dining hall buzzed with chatter. Anya sat alone, her tray of simple bread and soup a stark contrast to the lavish plates of her wealthier peers. Bella swept in, flanked by a gaggle of students, her voice loud enough to carry. "Oh, look, it's the charity case," she said, pointing at Anya. "Did they let you in just to scrub the pots? That's all you're good for, isn't it?" Laughter rippled through the crowd. Anya's cheeks burned, but she kept her gaze on her plate, her fingers tightening around her spoon. "Ignore her," she muttered to herself, but the words felt hollow. The other students' whispers grew louder, their eyes darting between her and Bella. "Tell me, Anya," Bella continued, leaning closer, "do you even know what a beurre blanc is, or are you still practicing your floor-scrubbing technique?" The crowd snickered, and Anya's resolve wavered. She wanted to vanish, to melt into the floor, but a memory of her grandmother's voice, "Cook with love, and no one can take that from you," steadied her. "I know enough," Anya said quietly, meeting Bella's gaze. "And I'm here to learn, not to fight." Bella's smile faltered, but she recovered quickly. "We'll see how long you last, scullery maid." As she sauntered away, Anya's heart raced. She knew this was only the beginning. The team challenge was a rite of passage at Flavors Academy. Create a 3-course meal in groups of 4, judged on creativity and execution. Anya was paired with 3 students who barely acknowledged her, their loyalty clearly swayed by Bella's campaign. Still, she threw herself into the task, volunteering to handle the spice blends for their main course, a roasted quail with saffron risotto. As she ground cardamom and cumin, she felt a surge of confidence. Her grandmother's cookbook had taught her the alchemy of spices, how to coax depth from even the simplest ingredients. But when she reached for her carefully prepared blends, she froze. The jars were wrong, too coarse, too bitter. She sniffed them and recoiled. Someone had replaced her delicate mix with a harsh, overpowering substitute. Across the room, Bella smirked, her hands busy with her own team's dessert. Anya's stomach churned. She had minutes before the dish was due, no time to start over. Her teammates glared, muttering about her incompetence. Panic clawed at her, but she closed her eyes, picturing her grandmother's steady hands. "Improvise, Anya. Trust your instincts." She grabbed fresh herbs from the pantry, adding a quick blend of rosemary and smoked paprika to salvage the dish. When the judges tasted the quail, their eyebrows rose. "Bold," one said. "Unexpectedly harmonious." Anya's team earned top marks, and Chef Alistair's nod from the judging table felt like a lifeline. After class, Anya confronted Bella in the empty corridor. "I know it was you," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "You switched the spices." Bella laughed, twirling a lock of hair. "Prove it, charity case. You're just lucky you didn't crash and burn. Next time, you won't be so fortunate." She walked away, leaving Anya seething but more determined than ever. Word of Anya's triumph spread through the academy like wildfire. Students who had once ignored her began to nod in passing, their curiosity piqued by the quiet girl who had outshone Bella's sabotage. In the library, Anya overheard 2 classmates whispering, "She's got something special." "Did you see Alistair's face when he tasted her dish?" Anya ducked behind a bookshelf, her cheeks warm with pride and fear. Being noticed was dangerous. Bella's hatred would only grow. But the whispers also fueled her. She spent hours in the practice kitchens, experimenting with her grandmother's recipes, each dish a quiet rebellion against her stepfamily's cruelty. One evening, a shy classmate named Lila approached her. "I saw what you did with the quail," Lila said, her voice hesitant. "How did you know to fix it like that?" Anya smiled, surprised by the kindness. "I just listened to the ingredients. They tell you what they need if you pay attention." Lila's eyes widened. "You sound like a poet. Bella's wrong about you, you know." The words were a small victory, a crack in Bella's carefully built wall of disdain. Anya felt a spark of hope. Maybe she wasn't as alone as she thought. But as she returned to her dorm, she found her door ajar. Her heart sank. Inside, her desk was untouched, but a single page from her grandmother's cookbook lay on the floor, its edge torn. A warning. Bella was watching, and she was far from finished. The midterm challenge was the Academy's most anticipated event, an original dish that showcased each student's unique voice. Anya had spent weeks preparing, her grandmother's cookbook her guide and inspiration. She chose to create a dish she called the Golden Coast, a delicate balance of seared scallops, citrus-infused risotto, and a saffron foam that evoked the warmth of a summer sunset. As she worked, the kitchen buzzed with tension. Bella's station was a flurry of ostentatious ingredients, truffles, gold leaf, caviar, but her movements were frantic, her confidence a thin veneer. Anya, by contrast, was a study in focus, her hands steady as she plated her dish with care. The scallops glistened, the risotto glowed, and the foam shimmered like liquid sunlight. When the judges tasted the Golden Coast, the room fell silent. Chef Alistair took a second bite, his expression unreadable. Then he spoke, his voice carrying a rare warmth. "This is a triumph of heart and heat. It's not just food, it's a story." The other judges nodded, one scribbling furiously in her notebook. Anya's chest swelled with pride, but she felt Bella's glare like a knife. As the scores were tallied, Alistair announced Anya as the top performer, securing her place as a frontrunner for the final. The applause was deafening, but Bella's face was a storm cloud. As Anya cleaned her station, she overheard Bella muttering to a friend, "She thinks she's won? She's got no idea what's coming." That night, Anya lay awake, the cookbook hidden under her pillow. The Golden Coast had been a victory, but Bella's words echoed like a prophecy. The final was approaching, and with it, a battle Anya wasn't sure she could win. The Flavors Academy auditorium was a sea of anticipation, its polished wooden benches filled with students, their whispers buzzing like bees. Anya stood at the edge of the stage, her hands clasped tightly to still their trembling. The midterm results had propelled her into the spotlight, and now Chef Alistair's verdict loomed like a guillotine. Her dish, the Golden Coast, had stunned the judges, but Bella's seething presence in the front row was a reminder that triumph came at a cost. Alistair stepped to the podium, his silver hair catching the light, his expression as unreadable as ever. "The midterm challenge was a test of vision," he began, his voice cutting through the murmurs. But one student surpassed vision and delivered a story, a dish that spoke of resilience and soul. "Anya, your Golden Coast was a triumph of heart and heat. You are the frontrunner for the final." The room erupted in applause, but Anya's heart stuttered as she caught Bella's gaze. Her stepsister's face was a mask of fury, her lips pressed into a thin, venomous line. The other students clapped, some with genuine admiration, others with wary glances, sensing the storm brewing between the two. Anya forced a smile, her mind racing. Being the frontrunner meant more than praise, it meant Bella's hatred had a new, dangerous edge. As the crowd dispersed, Alistair approached her. "You've got talent, Anya," he said quietly, his eyes searching hers. "But talent makes enemies. Watch your back." Anya nodded, her throat tight. "Thank you, Chef. I'll be careful." He gave her a rare, fleeting smile. "Good. Because the final is where legends are made, or broken." His words lingered as she left the auditorium, the weight of her grandmother's cookbook tucked inside her bag, a silent promise to keep fighting. In the quiet of her dorm room, Anya sat cross-legged on her bed, the cookbook open before her. The flickering lamplight cast shadows across the pages, illuminating her grandmother's elegant script. She had read the recipe for the Sunstone Feast countless times, but tonight, something new caught her eye, a folded corner, barely noticeable. She smoothed it out and found a hidden note, written in a hurried, almost desperate hand. The feast's true power lies in its heart, a secret ingredient known only to those who listen to the soul of the dish. Seek it, Anya, but beware, its truth is guarded by sacrifice. The note was torn, the rest of the words lost. Anya's pulse quickened. What was the ingredient? And why had her grandmother hidden it so carefully? She traced the words, her mind conjuring images of her grandmother's kitchen, filled with laughter and warmth. The answer felt close, yet maddeningly out of reach. A knock at the door startled her. Lila, her shy classmate, stood there, clutching a notebook. "I saw your door open," Lila said, her voice hesitant. "I just wanted to say, your dish was incredible. How do you do it? Make food feel like magic." Anya hesitated, then gestured to the cookbook. "It's my grandmother. She taught me to cook with love, not just skill." Lila's eyes widened. "That's beautiful. But be careful with Bella. I overheard her talking to her friends. She's planning something for the final." Anya's stomach twisted. "What did she say?" Lila shook her head. "Just that you wouldn't make it to the judging. She sounded scary." Lila left, and Anya locked the door, her fingers lingering on the torn note. The secret ingredient was out there, but so was Bella's wrath. The Academy's practice kitchen was a sanctuary after hours, its stainless steel surfaces gleaming under the moonlight streaming through high windows. Anya worked alone, perfecting her golden coast for the final. She had added a new element, a delicate herb infusion, to elevate the dish, hoping it would honor her grandmother's legacy. The scallops rested in a marinade, the risotto simmered gently, and the saffron foam was set to infuse overnight. She stepped back, satisfied, and locked the kitchen before heading to bed. In the shadows, Bella waited. Her heart pounded with a mix of rage and exhilaration. Anya's success was an insult, a stain on her own carefully curated image at the Academy. She had watched Anya's every move, noting the care she took with her dish. Now, with the kitchen empty, Bella slipped inside, her key, stolen from a distracted assistant, turning smoothly in the lock. She found Anya's station, the bowl of marinade glinting under the dim lights. From her pocket, she pulled a small vial of industrial-strength vinegar, its acrid scent stinging her nose even through the glass. "Let's see how your precious golden coast tastes now," she whispered, her voice trembling with malice. She poured the entire vial into the marinade, stirring it carefully to hide the tampering. The liquid darkened slightly, but to an untrained eye, it looked unchanged. Bella smirked, imagining Anya's humiliation when the judges recoiled from her ruined dish. She hid the vial in her apron and slipped out, leaving no trace. The day of the final dawned bright and merciless, the Academy's grand hall transformed into a culinary battlefield. Stations gleamed with fresh ingredients, and the air hummed with nervous energy. Anya arrived early, her heart a drumbeat of anticipation. She checked her station, unaware of the poison lurking in her marinade. The scallops looked perfect, the infusion complete. She smiled, whispering to herself, "This is for you, grandmother." Bella, meanwhile, was a bundle of nerves. Her own dish, a truffle-heavy duck confit, was ambitious but lacked the soul of Anya's creations. She had spent the night replaying her sabotage, convincing herself it was foolproof. As the judges entered, led by Chef Alistair, Bella's confidence grew. Anya would fail, and she would shine. The challenge was simple: present a dish that defined you as a chef. Anya worked with quiet precision, her hands moving as if guided by her grandmother's spirit. She seared the scallops, plated the risotto, and added the saffron foam, each step a love letter to her past. Bella, across the room, fumbled with her duck, her hands shaking as she glanced at Anya's serene focus. As the final minutes ticked down, Anya stepped back, her dish complete. Bella's eyes darted to her own station, then to Anya's, her smirk returning. The judges were moments away, and Anya's downfall was assured. The judging began with a hush, the students' dishes lined up like offerings. Bella's turn came first, and she strode forward, her duck confit gleaming with excess. But in her haste, her elbow caught the edge of her station. Her plate teetered, then crashed to the floor, the duck sliding into a pathetic heap. Gasps filled the room, and Bella's face drained of color. "No!" she cried, her voice shrill. In a blind panic, she grabbed the nearest bowl, Anya's sabotaged marinade, mistaken for her own backup ingredients. She hurriedly reassembled her dish, incorporating the tainted marinade, her hands trembling as she plated it. "It's fine," she muttered to herself, forcing a smile. "It's still better than hers." Anya watched, confused but too focused on her own presentation to question Bella's frenzy. As Bella carried her dish to the judges, Anya stepped forward with her golden coast, her heart swelling with pride. The judges' table was a gauntlet, and she was ready. But as Bella set her plate down, a strange silence fell. Chef Alistair leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. Something was wrong, and the air grew thick with the promise of disaster. The Grand Hall of Flavors Academy was a crucible of tension, the air thick with the aroma of competing dishes and the weight of unspoken rivalries. The judges' table, draped in pristine white, stood like a throne of judgment, and Anya's heart raced as she watched Bella present her sabotaged dish. Bella's smile was a brittle mask, her eyes darting nervously as she set the plate before Chef Alistair and the panel. Anya, standing beside her own golden coast, felt a flicker of unease but couldn't place why. Chef Alistair took a measured bite, his fork pausing mid-air. His face, usually an unreadable fortress, twisted in disgust. The other judges followed, their expressions mirroring his. One coughed, another reached for water. "What is this?" Alistair demanded, his voice low but sharp enough to cut through the room's silence. "This tastes like poison." Bella's confidence shattered. It's duck confit with a truffle reduction," she stammered, her hands trembling. "It's my signature dish." "Signature?" Judge Marissa, a renowned critic with a nose for deception, leaned forward. "This is industrial vinegar, girl. Did you think we wouldn't notice?" The crowd gasped, students whispering as Bella's face flushed crimson. Anya's mind raced. Vinegar? Her marinade had been perfect when she left it last night. She glanced at her own dish, untouched by the judges, and a chilling realization hit her. Bella's mistake wasn't just clumsiness, she had taken Anya's sabotaged dish. Before Anya could speak, Alistair turned to her, his eyes narrowing. "Anya, present your dish." Anya stepped forward, her heart pounding. She placed her golden coast before the judges, praying the sabotage hadn't reached her station. Alistair took a bite, and the room held its breath. His stern expression softened, a rare warmth flickering in his eyes. "Exquisite," he said. "Balanced, soulful, and utterly flawless." The other judges nodded, their praise echoing his. Anya's knees nearly buckled with relief. She had escaped Bella's trap, but at what cost? The judges' verdict hung in the air, but Bella wasn't done. Desperate to salvage her reputation, she grabbed a fork and took a defiant bite of her own dish, her eyes blazing with denial. "There's nothing wrong with it," she cried. But the moment the food touched her tongue, her bravado crumbled. Her face contorted, her hands clutching her throat as she gagged, the vinegar's caustic burn overwhelming her senses. She staggered, collapsing to her knees, the crowd erupting in chaos. Students rushed forward, some shouting for help, others frozen in shock. Anya stood rooted, torn between horror and the dawning truth. Bella had poisoned herself with her own treachery. Chef Alistair barked orders, and medics swarmed the stage, stabilizing Bella as she gasped for air. Her eyes, wild with pain, locked onto Anya's, and for a fleeting moment, Anya saw not just hatred but fear. As Bella was carried away, Alistair turned to the crowd, his voice cutting through the pandemonium. "This competition is paused until we understand what happened. No one leaves this hall." His gaze lingered on Anya, not accusing but searching, as if he sensed the deeper story. Anya's stomach churned. She knew the truth, but proving it would mean exposing Bella's sabotage, and risking her own place in the academy. In the tense quiet that followed, Lila slipped beside Anya, her voice a whisper. "I saw Bella near your station last night. She was holding something, a vial." Anya's breath caught. Lila's words were a lifeline, but also a dangerous spark. If she accused Bella now, it could ignite a fire she wasn't ready to face. The investigation unfolded with the precision of a surgical knife. Chef Alistair, flanked by Academy security, reviewed footage from the kitchen's cameras, a precaution installed after past incidents of tampering. The hall remained locked, students shifting nervously as whispers of scandal spread. Anya sat in a corner, her hands clasped around her grandmother's cookbook, its weight both a comfort and a reminder of the stakes. Alistair summoned Anya and Bella's team to a private room. Bella, pale but recovered, sat with her arms crossed, her defiance fraying at the edges. The security chief played the footage on a screen, and the room fell silent. There, in grainy clarity, was Bella, slipping into the kitchen at midnight, her face illuminated by moonlight as she poured the vial into Anya's marinade. The camera caught her smirk, the glint of the vial, and her careful retreat. Bella's composure shattered. "That's not me," she cried, but her voice cracked, betraying her. The vial, found tucked in her apron during a search, was undeniable proof. Alistair's eyes were cold as he turned to her. "You've disgraced yourself and this academy," he said. "You're expelled, effective immediately." Bella's protests dissolved into sobs, but Anya felt no triumph, only a hollow ache. As Bella was escorted out, she shot Anya a final, venomous look. "You think you've won? You're still nothing," she spat. The words stung, but Anya held her head high, clutching the cookbook like a shield. Alistair approached her after, his voice softer. "You've endured more than most, Anya. Your talent carried you through. Don't let this define you." She nodded, tears pricking her eyes, but the weight of Bella's downfall felt heavier than she expected. The final resumed the next day, the scandal a dark cloud that only heightened the drama. Anya's Golden Coast stood unchallenged, its flavors a testament to her skill and heart. The judge's unanimous decision named her the winner, granting her the full scholarship and a standing ovation from her peers. Lila was the first to hug her, whispering, "You deserve this." With Alistair's mentorship, Anya's path was clear. Months later, she stood in the doorway of the Sunstone Cafe, her own restaurant, its name a tribute to her grandmother's legendary recipe. The space was small but warm, filled with the scents of fresh herbs and baking bread. Opening night was a triumph, with critics and locals alike praising her innovative dishes, each one infused with the love her grandmother had taught her. Madame Clara, humiliated by Bella's expulsion and the public fallout, vanished from Anya's life, her influence reduced to a bitter memory. Bella, disgraced, faded into obscurity, her dreams of culinary stardom shattered by her own hand. Anya, meanwhile, thrived, her restaurant a beacon of hope for those who dared to dream beyond their circumstances. As she closed the cafe one evening, Anya paused at the counter, her fingers brushing a framed photo of her grandmother. "We did it," she whispered, a smile breaking through her exhaustion. But one mystery remained, the torn note, the secret of the Sunstone Feast. Years later, Anya was a celebrated chef, her name synonymous with heart and innovation. The Sunstone Cafe had become a pilgrimage site for food lovers, its tables booked months in advance. Yet, the torn note from her grandmother's cookbook haunted her, a puzzle she couldn't let go. One quiet afternoon, while sorting through old recipe cards, she found it, a single faded page tucked inside a forgotten envelope. The missing piece of the note was simple, yet profound. The Sunstone Feast's secret is not an ingredient, but the love you pour into every dish. Cook for those you cherish, and the feast will live forever. Anya's eyes filled with tears. It wasn't a spice or a technique, it was the essence of her grandmother's life, the reason her food had always felt like home. That night, Anya prepared the Sunstone Feast for her staff and closest friends, including Lila and Chef Alistair. The table groaned with dishes, golden scallops, fragrant risotto, and a dessert that shimmered like sunlight. As they ate, laughter and stories filled the air, and Anya felt her grandmother's presence in every bite. She stood to speak, her voice steady. "This is for my grandmother, who taught me that cooking is love made visible. Thank you for being here, for being my family." The room toasted her, and as Anya looked out at their smiling faces, she knew she had fulfilled her grandmother's legacy. The Anya, her silhouette framed by the warm glow of the cafe, a testament to resilience, kindness, and the power of a secret that was never truly lost. The end.